Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Anderson Cooper, no relation, and welcome to today's episode of Cringe News. Today's top story comes from a YouTuber, as usual, but this one's a familiar face for the program. That's right, I'm talking about the one and only Jacksfilms. You may know him from his semi-popular weekly web series, Your Grammar Sucks, as well as being the creator of the Deep Dab. He's a frequent topic of discussion here on Cringe News, whether it be for that weird deep-faked shot glass review video, his strange obsession with the film Avatar, or that one weird VTuber video. You might even remember that one time he tried to muscle in onto our news territory with his own show called Tube News.
In other tube news, we have YouTuber Sky Will.i.ams to talk about a dark chapter of his past.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jack.
Yikes. That didn't age well. But those were all low-grade offenses. Recently, he has been the center point of a high-level cringe event. We are talking felony levels of cringe here. Let's take it to our expert cringeologist, Randall Cheney.
Thank you, Anderson. I have got to say, this is a big one, folks. We have not seen a cringe event of quite this magnitude in some time. This is possibly a 7, at least a 7, maybe even an 8. We haven't seen something this big since the last YouTube Rewind. Here, let me show you my findings. I'm talking Ninja at Times Square. I'm not seeing enough movement levels of cringe right here, all originating from Yai Time. The seismic reverberations of Yai Time's cringe is international, being felt all across the internet, causing widespread damage. This event, as connected to Timothy, preceded the cancellation of the show Wild 'N Out, of which he was a frequent cast member on. This event also, as connected to Jaden, preceded the massive wave of Jaden Animations-based pornography on the internet, which obviously in and of itself is a severe cringe event. What is wrong with you people? Why are people drawing Jaden's animation persona, engaging in strange forms of gamer sex? That's weird. That's super weird. Even PewDiePie himself has not been clear of the reverberations of this cringe outbreak. After having stolen just 100% verbatim copy and pasted Lawai. I mean, really, why is it even called Lawai? Last week I asked you. He never asks them anything. He just watches memes. I know what you're thinking, folks. How could this possibly get any worse? Well, we have been hearing rumors from our inside man at YouTube headquarters. Somehow, some way, they are considering branching off the Yai Time brand and engaging once again with PewDiePie by creating Lawai Time. They're considering Lawai Time as a YouTube original show. I promise you folks, I am not exaggerating when I say that would be the cringiest thing in all of internet history. We still have yet to fully recover from the Logan Paul Suicide Forest incident. But even with YouTube at full structural integrity, we could not possibly survive the amount of cringe that this would produce. It's just purely immense. This would cause a cringe horizon that would cause all of YouTube to implode in on itself, leaving absolutely zero survivors on the platform. Following that, the worst possible, as if it could possibly get any worse, the only people left in the entire internet entertainment industry will be the late night Jimmies. It'll be just the late night Jimmies. There are some in the community that believe the late night Jimmies and the ghost of late night television, as foretold by JonTron's Crystal Skull video, may possibly be orchestrating all of this from behind the scenes. This entire absurd, cringe conspiracy. But we have no evidence at this time to back up this claim. My only hope is that since we know that this is coming, that we as a community of intellectuals can come together and find a solution to avert this catastrophic cringe crisis before it destroys us all.
Wow, that is not good news, folks. That is definitely a new level of cringe for Jack and Yai, even after release of the Yai board game. Following traditional YouTube original fashion, they took a popular creator, well known for a specific, well-established brand of content, and got them to do something completely different. Jacksfilms is known for being one of the platform's most audience engagement-driven creators, and in order to go with that, they had him play a closed game with 3.5 other YouTubers while he awkwardly reads chat. Yai has always been about answering silly questions in clever and witty ways, so in this, they answered boring questions by drawing pictures. Just like they got a Swedish guy known for playing horror games alone in a dark room to go through a series of glorified haunted houses. Just like how they got a bunch of popular personality-based YouTubers to compete in Joey Graceffa's escape room/survivor hybrid show. Or how they got a bunch of YouTube gamers to voice act in an animated cartoon. CNanners is just recently beginning to recover from that incident. That said, the biggest change away from regular Yai content is how it went from being an audience submission show to a show where the audience gets to vote on a series of answers, essentially making it a broke-ass Jackbox. In retaliation for causing such a severe cringe event, the High Council of YouTube has stepped in and punished Mr. Films by sending his beloved dog Klondike to the cringe dimension. The council has been largely silent when it comes to Jack, sitting by during the whole Twitter for Android thing. They didn't even punish him that time he started selling reusable folding straws. But Yai time was far too cringe to be ignored. We reached out to longtime rivals of Klondike, Jenna Marble's dogs, Mr. Marbles, and Kermit, to see what they had to say about the current situation. They clearly won't be sending their sympathies to Klondike's family anytime soon. Speaking of Klondike's family, we reached out to Erin for a comment as well, but we didn't receive any response. That doesn't come as much of a surprise, considering she probably doesn't even know the poor pup's gone missing yet. In every video she's ever in, she's always nursing a glass of wine, so at this time of day she's probably on her second bottle. Calling back to a previous segment, we still did not have confirmation as to whether or not she tried to drink Jack's Streamy award, but she do be day drinking. With Klondike removed from this plane of existence for the foreseeable future, Jack will no longer be able to pimp her out for 75% of his merch sales. A significant amount of his revenue will now be gone, considering he has been abusing his dog's likeness for monetary gain for several years now. Season 3? Really? Of course we had to reach out to Jack himself for a comment on all the current goings-on, and here's what he had to say.
That's a spicy meatball.
Classic Jack. Well, that's our time for this segment, but make sure to stay tuned for any breaking cringe news. After the commercials, we're going to break down all the current goings-on with James Charles and David Dobrik, or whatever else Keemstar is covering today. See you then.